Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to continue the previous one where I actually talked and explained about IELTS Writing Task 1 general version. I've already shown you two essential types of letters, request letter and complaint letter. In this specific video, I'm going to move to another two types of letters. So I'm going in this video to talk about apology letter and explanation letter, okay? So as you can see, these ones have been already finished. I want you to check out the previous video to be able to understand them again. I've already told you guys that we have a specific structure for writing or to writing a very academic letter, like a very professional letter. As you all know, we have two types of letters, formal letters and informal letters, and I've already told you about this. But don't worry, in this video, I'm going to remind you of the essential tips and the main structure to increase your score in IELTS Writing Task 1 Essay General Version. So let's get started with apology letter. Okay, so letters of apology are common types of IELTS letters. This lesson will show you step by step how to write them. Here is what the lesson includes: question structure, letter structure, formal or informal, greeting and sign off, generating ideas, and sample letters. So for the question structure, all questions for IELTS letters have the same structure. They are made up of three parts: the topic, the person you must write to, and what you should write about. And that's what we call the bullet points that are listed in the actual question. So let's see an example question here. So here's a sample question for a letter of apology with the three parts illustrated. The question says, your neighbor has written to you to complain about the noise from your flat. Write a letter to your neighbor. In your letter, explain the reason for the noise, offer your neighbor an apology, and tell them what action you will take. So it's a typical question. As you all know, we always have 3 bullet points, and you should make a single paragraph for every single bullet point. You can gather 2 bullet points in one long paragraph if you want, it's okay. But to make a nice structure, it's better to separate the 3 paragraphs. Okay, so understanding this will help you to quickly analyze the question and plan your answer. To help you plan, use the letter structure below. So the layout of IELTS letters should follow the structure of the question and consist of 4 paragraphs with a greeting at the beginning and a sign off at the end. Use this easy to remember 6-part structure. So you have to start by the greeting, dear Mr. Surname, or dear Sir, Madam, or dear someone's first name if you are writing to a friend, and that's what we call informal letter. Okay, so we have the greeting, and then we have paragraph 1, and that's what we call a purpose sentence. So you have to write, or you have to say why you are writing this letter. So it has to be a short sentence. It doesn't have to be long, by the way. Okay, and then we have paragraph 2, which is the answer of the first bullet point. Paragraph 3, where you have to write about the second bullet point, and paragraph 4, where you have to write about the third bullet point. And then finally, you have the sign off when you end by kind regards, or yours faithfully, or yours sincerely. Or if you are writing to a friend or to a close family member, you will just, for example, write keep in touch, or all the best. You don't have to be formal if you are writing to a friend. And then you will also end with your full name if it's a formal letter, or your first name only if you are writing to a friend. Okay, so all you need to do is to create your plan, okay, from the question. So as you can see here, dear, I'm going to mention about my neighbor name, and paragraph, and in the purpose sentence, I'm going to write something like, I'm going to apologize for the noise, blah, blah, blah. Paragraph 2, explain the reason for the noise. Paragraph 3, blah, blah. So what I'm trying to show you right now is I'm trying to think about the main answers for the questions. But before, let's find out if it's a formal or informal letter. So IELTS letters must be written in the appropriate tone and style. There are two options. Formal, if you are writing to someone you don't know or don't know well. Informal, to a friend or a family member. So it's essential that you are able to identify what type of question you are required to write. Follow this rule. If the question includes the word friend, use informal language. If the question does not include the word friend, then use formal language. The only exception is if the letter is to a close family member, when you would also use an informal tone. One situation that can be confusing is where the person you have to write to is a neighbor. As an out sample question, assume that you don't know them very well and keep the letter formal, okay? So if you are about to write a letter for your neighbor, use formal language, okay? It's better to be on the safe side. So this leads us on to the opening of your letter, which is the greeting. So first of all, we need to think about the greeting, so which is the start of the letter. So it's most likely that you would know the name of your neighbor. So make one up, for example, Mrs. Dixon. So that's the family name, okay? If you did not know the name, you would write Dear Sir, Madam. But because you are writing to a neighbor, so assumingly or like presumably, you know the name, okay? So you can just make it up, Dear Mrs. Dixon or Dear Mr. Dixon, whatever you want, or Dear Sir or Madam, okay? If you were writing an informal letter to a friend, you would use the first name only. For example, Dear John. The greeting you use will determine how you sign off your letter. So how do we sign off the letter? For the formal letter, there are two main options. The correct one will depend on who you are addressing. For example, if you start the letter by Dear Mrs. Dixon, which is a known name, then you will have to end the letter by yours sincerely. And if you start the letter by Dear Sir or Madam, which is an unknown name, then you will have to end the letter by yours faithfully. You could also use kind regards. This is formal but friendly and is appropriate for most situations. It's particularly useful if you struggle to remember how to spell sincerely and faithfully. So always sign off a formal letter with your full name. Okay, so for example, I'm going to end this letter by yours sincerely, Jack Spear, for example. Okay, so as I told you, try to remember the strategy here. Okay, so if you are mentioning the name of the receiver, so then you will have to end by yours sincerely. And if you start by Dear Sir or Madam, you will have to end by yours faithfully. And if you forget about yours sincerely or yours faithfully, you can just write kind regards, and that's it. Okay, I would actually prefer to use kind regards instead of best regards. Kind regards look or sound much better. Okay. Now, for an informal letter to a friend, use one of these phrases followed by your first name. For example, all the best, see you soon, keep in touch. For example, keep in touch, Jackie. Okay, you don't have to end the letter by yours sincerely or yours faithfully or I don't know. You don't have to be that formal, okay? Because it's an informal letter, so you don't have to write your full name, okay? So now for our sample letter, we will use this greeting and sign off. So I'm going to start the letter by Dear Mrs. Dixon, and I'm going to end the letter by yours sincerely, Jack Spee. So now I've done thinking about the greeting and the sign off. So now we are now ready to think up some ideas to write about. We have the guidelines of the 3 bullet points to help us, so this won't be difficult. How to generate ideas for IELTS letters. With only 150 words to write, you won't need many ideas. Just make sure that you write about each bullet point and develop each idea fully. So you have to write about 150 words in about 20 minutes only. So you can't exceed the time limit, because don't forget, IELTS writing task consists of 2 parts. So you have writing task 1 and task 2. Task 1 takes 20 minutes, and then you have about 40 minutes to be spent on IELTS writing task 2. Okay, so you will have to finish writing task 1, which is the letter that I'm explaining right now, in less than 20 minutes. So they don't have to be the best ideas you can possibly think of. Go with your first thoughts and don't waste time trying to think of better ideas. Just make sure that they are directly related to the bullet points, not your ideas beside each bullet point on the exam paper like this. I'm going to show you. Your neighbor has written to you to complain about the noise from your flat, blah, blah, blah. Write a letter. Okay, for example, the first bullet point that says explain the reason for the noise. So you can write a simple note, and then you will have to elaborate on this specific note later when you start writing. So for example, I'm going to mention something about having the flat rewired. Okay, when you are having the flat rewired means you are changing the electricity, the whole electricity of the flat. The flat means apartment. Okay, the second bullet point that says offer your neighbor an apology, I'm going to write, for example, sorry the noise has disturbed them. And for the third bullet point that says tell them what action you will take, I'm going to mention that I'm going to ask electrician to be as quiet as possible and pay for additional electrician so job finished sooner. So that's our planning complete. Once you've had some practice, you will be able to do this in just a few minutes. Taking time to plan makes writing IELTS letters far quicker and easier than if you don't do this step. You will also write a better letter and get higher marks. So let's write our letter. Okay, so we've thought about the answers of the 3 bullet points and the purpose sentence as well. I've thought about the purpose sentence. Now it's time to start the paragraph 1, which is the purpose sentence. So in the first paragraph, you must state the reason for writing the letter. That is its purpose. Okay, so paragraph 1 purpose, to apologize for the noise. So many students make the mistake of missing this purpose sentence out, but it's very important. Including it will gain you marks, so don't miss out the purpose sentence. It only requires 1 sentence. Here is an example appropriate to our letter of apology. I am writing to apologize for all the noise. So that's the one. I'm writing to apologize for all the noise coming from my flat over the past few days. It's a beautiful purpose sentence, as you can see. So a top vocabulary tip, do not use contractions in formal letters. So they are informal language. So for a letter of apology to a friend, it would be appropriate to write, I'm writing to apologize, to say sorry for. So you can't say you have to say I am. Okay, so you can't use contractions in your formal letters because it's a formal letter. So don't use contractions. You are allowed to use these contractions in an informal letter. That means if you are writing to a friend or to a family member. Okay, now, so we've done from paragraph 1. Okay, so that's the purpose sentence. Now let's move to paragraph 2, which is the first bullet point. So the first bullet point that says explain the reason for the noise. So remember to keep the language formal for this question. Aim for around 50 words for paragraph 2, 3, and 4. You could write something like this. So let's think about an answer for the first bullet point. I am having the whole place rewired at the moment as I was experiencing some electrical faults that could not be repaired. The old wiring had been in since the flat was built and needed replacing. So I had no choice but to undertake this necessary work. As you can see, amazing vocabulary, amazing words, amazing sentences, and it's completely so. As you can see, the ideas in the sentence are completely interconnected, okay? Now in the paragraph 3, which is the answer for the second bullet point that says offer your neighbor an apology. So let's see, let's read the answer of this, sorry. I do appreciate that there has been a lot of banging going on during the day. I sincerely apologize for this and regret that you have been disturbed. I was hoping that most of the work would be done while you were out at work, but I admit that it did continue into the evening the other day. So it's an amazing paragraph answering the second bullet point, which is paragraph 3. Now, paragraph 4, which is the answer for the third bullet point that says, tell them what action you will take. So let's see an example answer. To get the job finished as quickly as possible, I will employ an additional electrician. Although there will be inevitably still be some noise, I will ask them to be as quiet as possible and be sure to finish by 5 p.m. when I believe that you usually get home. So we have a beautiful word here, that's inevitably. or inevitably. Inevitably means unavoidably, so you can't avoid it. Okay, so it's like unavoidably, unavoidable. Okay, so it's a beautiful adverb. So here is our finished letter, as you can see. So that's the finished letter. I want you to take some time to read it. Okay, so as you can see, we have the greeting, the purpose sentence, paragraph 1, which is the answer of the first bullet point. That's the answer of the second, and that's the answer of the third bullet point. And then we have an ending sentence. Okay, please accept my apologies once again. So you can always have an ending sentence if you want. You don't have to have it, but it beautifies your letter. Okay, so it's beautiful to end the letter by please accept my apologies once again, yours sincerely, Jack Space. So as you can see, that's the sign off. So it's completely a formal letter. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to read this. Okay, so as you can see, it's a beautiful formal letter, and that's how we write an apology letter. So now we've done from the apology letter, we have this question here, okay? So you can practice this question. So I want you to screenshot this, okay? And try to write down a formal letter. But sorry, it's not a formal letter, it's an informal letter because you are writing to a friend. So as you can see, it says, you have just missed a friend's party, write a letter to apologize. In your letter, apologize to your friend, explain why you did not attend the party, and say what you plan to do to make up for missing the party. So this letter is to a friend. So it must be written in an informal tone and style. So use the planning structure I showed you above to plan before you start writing. Okay, so it's an informal letter. So you can start by your first name, dear. Sorry, you can start the letter by dear, the receiver's first name, and then you can end it by your, for example, keep in touch, all the best, see you soon, and then your first name only. Okay, it's an informal letter because you are writing to a friend. Okay, so try to write a letter, an informal letter for me down in the comment section below, and I would reply to you personally to correct what you have done. Don't forget to do this. Now let's move to another type of letters, and that's the explanation letter. Okay, so the Ielts letter samples in this lesson are about the letters of explanation, a common type of letter in the general writing exam. So it's a very common letter in the general Ielts exam. In the lesson, I'm going to show you step by step how to plan and write explanation letter. Okay, so I've already talked about this. So now let's read the example question together. It says, you are planning a holiday abroad and will be visiting a town, and you will be visiting a town where an old friend lives. You haven't spoken to this friend in a few years. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, give your friend a brief update of your life since you were last in touch. Explain why you will be traveling to her town. Say what you plan to do when you visit their town. So here is a simple question for an Ielts explanation letter with the 3 parts illustrated, okay? So, I've told you about the structure again, and as you can see, you are writing, as you can see, to a friend, so it has to be an informal letter. Okay, so I just identified the letter. It's an informal letter. Okay, okay, and I'm not gonna repeat this again and again, but yes, so for our sample letter, we will use this greeting and sign off. So let's first think about the greeting and the sign off. So I'm going to start the letter by Dear Ellen. So I'm writing to my girlfriend. And then I'm going to end it by, I hope to see you soon, Jackie. So that's the greeting and that's the sign off, okay? So it's an informal letter because you are writing to a friend, okay? So you only have to finish by your first name, and you can start the letter by Dear, the first name of your friend only. And you don't have to end by kind regards or yours sincerely or yours faithfully. No, you just end it by, I hope to see you soon, or keep in touch, or all the best, whatever you want. Okay, so we have completely identified the letter. Okay, now it's time to think about, or it's time to take some notes next to every single question before start writing. So the first question that says, give a brief update of your life since last in touch. So I'm going to mention something like I got engaged and I bought a flat, okay? The second question that says, explain why you will be traveling to his hometown. I'm going to mention that, like, for example, I will be having a coach tour of Scotland. And for the third question that says, say what you plan to do when you visit the town, I'm going to visit, for example, Edinburgh Castle. So that's our planning complete, okay? So now it's time to start writing the first sentence, which is the purpose sentence. So that's the purpose sentence, which is paragraph 1. I'm going to write, many students make the mistake of, okay, yes, sorry, I've told you about this. Okay, so that's the purpose sentence. I'm just writing to let you know that I'm going to be visiting Edinburgh in a few months' time, okay? So as you can see, it's short. It doesn't have to be that long, okay? So you don't have to, stress out and, I don't know, and feel anxious. Just avoid these negative feelings. It's quite easy. In the purpose sentence, you have to write something like the purpose, your intention. Why are you writing this letter? So as you can see here, I'm just writing to let you know that I'm going to be visiting Edinburgh in a few months' time. Okay, so okay, now in paragraph 2, which is the first bullet point that says give a brief update of your life since last in touch. So let's read this together. So much has happened since I last wrote, so I will quickly bring you up to date before telling you about the tip. The big news is that Jamie and I have finally got engaged. He even got down on one knee to propose, which was so romantic. The wedding is planned for June next year, and we do hope you can come. We've also bought a flat and we moved in together last month. It's an amazing answer for the first bullet point. Now the second bullet point that says explain why you will be traveling to his hometown. Let's see what I'm gonna write. The holiday we booked is a 2-week coach tour of Scotland. We are spending most of the time on the West Coast and in the Highlands, but we also get a full day in Edinburgh on 12th May. Amazing paragraph, answering the second bullet point. Now the third bullet point, which is the last paragraph, say what you plan to do when you visit the town. I'm going to write, the trip includes a guided tour of Edinburgh Castle in the morning, but we are then free for the rest of the day. It would be fantastic to catch up with you if you are able to meet us for tea somewhere. Let me know if you can make it. So now we just need to add the sign off we decided on earlier, and our letter is complete. So that's the final letter. As you can see, so we ended the letter by, so that's an ending sentence. I really hope to see you soon. All the best, Jackie. Okay, so as you can see, I started the letter by Dear Alan. So that's the greeting, because I'm writing to my friend. So that's the purpose sentence here. That's the first paragraph, which is the answer of the first bullet point. And that's the third paragraph, which is the answer of the second bullet point. And then we have the last paragraph, which is the answer of the third bullet point. And so we have an ending sentence, and then we have the sign off, all the best, Jackie. It's an informal letter, as you can see. Now we have this practice question that says, you rent a 4-bedroom house, which you share with 3 friends. However, there are several problems with this house that need fixing. Write a letter to the letting agency. In the letter, explain your situation, describe the problems with the house, and say what you would like to happen. So as you can see, it has to be a formal letter. So this letter is to someone you don't know. So must be written in a formal tone and style. Use the planning structure I showed you above to plan before you start writing, okay? So I try to do this, okay? So try please to write this, and or just like write the answer in the comment section below, okay? And I will reply to you personally to correct your answer. So now you have 2 letters. apology letter and explanation letter. So we've done for today, I've shown you 2 essential letters, and these are very common in the IELTS exam. So try to go back to the video and watch until you fully understand the structure, okay? I will be uploading more videos covering the letter types, and I think I will be uploading something about arrangement letter or resignation or application letter. So I'm going to upload a final video about IELTS, about general IELTS writing task 1 essays, okay? So don't forget, please, to subscribe to my channel and activate the bell button to receive all my upcoming uploads. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to write down in the comment section below, and please don't forget to share my video so we can always reach the highest audience, okay? Thanks again for watching me, and I wish you a beautiful, beautiful day, and definitely I will see you soon. Goodbye.